I have a question that I'm very curious about because you had mentioned that you kind of grew up, you're like a skinny kid, and that's why you got into karate. That's why I got into martial arts as well. But that's also why I got into weightlifting. And you, throughout the 80s and 90s, especially, and even now in like the Mad Max films, you got a very nice muscular physique. So when did you start getting into weightlifting?
Well, this is again through the kid that lived opposite me that introduced me to the judo classes. He, his dad ended up setting up a little, it was, God, talk about rudimentary. There were the days when it was just one bar and a fixed plate, blah, blah, blah. He set up a little gym at his house, and we used to get the Weeder magazines way back then,
Okay.
And again, I was driven by the fact of you see a magazine like that and you see people like Reeves, Hercules and people like that back in the day, and that's all you wanted. Oh, I couldn't. The idea of actually having a little bit of muscle and everything on me was something that just was. I just had to have it. So we'd read these magazines. We started lifting weights, in Morris's little gym at the back of his house. And again, I would think, I'm pretty sure I was 14. It might have even been younger than that. And I've just never stopped. I still lift probably 5 days a week. Always, by the way, as a supplement, meaning it was always to help me be a better martial artist. Now, yes, there's some ego in that as well, because the idea of looking good and everything, is not a bad thing. I think, if you can look in the mirror and say, no, I'm not happy with how I look, and it inspires you to get into the gym, eat a bit healthier and put a bit of weight on and everything, I think that's a good thing to do. And I've often said that if out of everything I've ever done, if I could only choose one thing for health, for me at least, still at this stage, it would be progressive resistance training, weight training. It's just keeping my ligaments, muscles, everything strong. I'm very much into, I've been reading a lot about fascia, and keeping that range of motion and doing exercises, which of course we do in martial arts anyway, that will tax the body in all sorts of interesting directions and ways. And that's a very healthy thing for us to do. But again, I was lucky enough to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger back in '73. He was still competing in the Olympias, and had a great little conversation with him. And I remember, because I was training, he was doing a little workout in the gym where I trained all the time. He knew the gentleman that owned the gym, and he came up and asked me what I weighed, and I was probably about 172, which is like nothing. But I was very, very cut because I was already fasting, I was doing food rotation. I was doing just so many things that were not even in vogue at the time. And he remarked to this other bodybuilder, he said, see, it's all an illusion. Because he said I looked like I weighed about 200 pounds,
Oh, when you're that lean, sure, you look a lot
Yeah,
bigger, of course.
it's a bit of an illusion. So we just had a great chat about training and everything else. So again, I guess what I'm saying is I was lucky enough to be introduced to some legendary role models of the day, of an Arnold Schwarzenegger, of a Benny Urquidez, of a Chuck Norris, and yeah. But weight training is, yes, still something I swear by. To at least keep my body strong and healthy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No doubt. It's funny that you mentioned the magazines because, of course, they would always have that ad with the skinny guy getting sand kicked in his face at the beach, or in the
It's
martial art magazines, the guy flicking the guy's wrist and he's like flipping over five people. I mean, that, aside from the movies and getting bullied in middle school, motivated me because I'm like, I gotta not get sand kicked in my face and I gotta be able to just flip these dudes around like nothing. Of course, it's not like that in the real world, but it's a journey that once I started, I never stopped because it's the discipline and everything else, right? That it builds that helps you with so many other areas of your life, which is great. And you still look amazing now, like I said, even recently in those Mad Max films, and even right here talking. Nobody would think you're your age, even though you dated yourself with the discotheque reference. But
That's right.
um,
Thank you. Yeah.